me. I feel like I have so much to live up to from that bio. My goodness.
You might want to,
Uh,
yeah, maybe downgrade it a bit.
yeah, if you don't mind, next time we'll work on it. All right, thank you guys so much for taking time out of your busy Wednesday to come and listen to me chat a little bit about marketing and sales. And that's what we're going to cover today, is just a more in-depth look at marketing and sales, as I believe it's one of the best ways to grow our business in a sustainable way. David already mentioned, but my name is Isaac, and I'm here because I love all things marketing and sales. And the other reason is, although this is my background, it's my passion, it's what I went to school for, when I opened up my own business, it was the one area where we actually lacked the most. And I thought it would be a really cool way to just kind of talk from experience about how we use the systems I'm going to talk about today to really flourish as an organization. So, just like all of you guys, I obviously had this dream of opening up my own business, and the name of my business is Movement Strength. Shameless plug, check us out, movementstrength.com. And of course, I started this business because it seems like there was a void in the market, and I had a lot of my friends and family tell me, you know, you should open up your own gym. It would be so successful. You would love it. You'd kill it. All these good things. So I had this whole idea that if I build it, they will come. And of course, that's a famous quote from the movie Field of Dreams. So I surveyed a bunch of friends and family, asked what they would want to see if they were to go to a gym, asked things that they would love to experience. And of course, these are some of the bits that they came up with. People would love to see small classes, right? Small class sizes, the best coaching in London, offering the best equipment. And then of course, there would have to be a strong focus on customer experience. So I'm like, all right, we're going to include all this in our gym, and we're going to open the doors, and like there's going to be like an iPhone lineup. People are just going to be waiting outside the doors for days, getting ready to start our business off. And spoiler alert, we opened the doors and there wasn't a massive lineup. We did okay, but definitely not as great as I wanted to. And when I think of what we did to sort of prepare our grand opening, or really just market our business in general, although that's what I went to school for, I know what you guys are going through, where you don't have millions of dollars. You might not even have tens of dollars in your bank account right now to be used towards marketing. So we go about it the old traditional freeway, right? We focus on organic marketing. So maybe we start that Instagram page up. And you do like 1,000 hashtags trying to get as many followers as you can. Or you create your own Facebook business page. Maybe you're on LinkedIn dropping all these articles, really just focusing on what we call organic reach. Maybe you start to think about your branding, having a nice website, having your own colors, concise language, a nice icon and logo. And then of course, word of mouth. We're just hoping if we provide a really good service to individuals, they're going to tell 5 friends who are going to tell another 5 friends. And then the next thing you know, we're as big as Apple computers, where unfortunately, it doesn't always work that way. And as an entrepreneur myself, my main sort of bit that I want to ensure I come across today is we need to be okay spending some dollars in marketing, as long as we're doing it in a safe and smart and intelligent way, okay? So I soon found out if you build it and no one knows about it, and you don't have a bottomless marketing budget, and you don't know what you're talking about, then no one is going to come. So that is an Isaac Morgado original. You guys can write that down if you want. So getting into the juicy details, the 6 core functions of business. And this is just my take on it. Obviously, everyone's going to have different thoughts. When we created these 6 core functions, it's really what allowed us to start to work on our business rather than in our business. And if you guys have ever read the book E-Myth by Michael Gerber, this is something that he talks quite a bit about. If you really want to grow your business, the best way to do that is ensuring you're constantly working on it, not just in it, making the pizzas or doing the training by yourself. So when we look at the 6 core functions, although we're only going to cover the first 3, which is lead gen, lead nurture, and sales, We are going to just quickly go over all of those. So you just get a broad overview of what my thoughts are on how to create a business full of growth and prosperity. So the 6 core functions are as follows. First, we have lead generation. Then we have lead nurture, sales, fulfillment, ascension, and last but certainly not least is retention. So if we break these up just at a high level overview, first thing with lead generation, that is what you're doing to physically capture a lead. A lead is someone that is interested in your product or service. So there's a variety of ways that you can capture leads. We're gonna go in depth momentarily. That would be the first step, capturing these potential customers. Then we have lead nurture. It's great that we have these potential customers, but how are we going to ensure that they actually come into our physical location, or that they visit our website, or that they buy, right? So what are we doing to nurture that lead, take care of them? Third, we have sales. So perfect, we're on the phone with someone now. How do we actually physically sell our product or our service? Next, we have fulfillment. So that is how your product or service is, right? Do you have a good product? Do you offer a good service? What does that look like? Then we have ascension. So if we think of business, right, most businesses will have a value ladder. You have an introduction offer or product, and then maybe you have various different products that you offer, and that's how can we ascend that customer through our value ladder. And then last but not least is retention. So how do we actually keep this customer if we're a service-based industry, or how do we ensure that this customer continues to buy our product in the future? We don't want to be what we call a churn factory, meaning every single time someone buys something, they only buy it once. We want to ensure we're getting that reoccurring revenue, which is important for any sort of business. Now, when we look at these functions, they're never all going to be very high functioning. The whole idea is we actually want to sometimes break these different areas. And what I mean by that is if we have an influx of leads, and this is usually what happens when we start our business, a lot of people are interested in it. If we have an influx of leads, maybe we don't have a good process on how we can nurture those leads. Or maybe we have an influx of leads, we're really good at getting them in our doors, but we suck at sales. Or we are good at sales, we're good at the lead gen, but then our product is garbage, right? So there's all these different things that we constantly need to be working on, and that's okay. So the first one that we're gonna focus on is lead generation, all right? And I know this seems obvious, but you can't have customers without first having potential customers. When we look at creating or trying to capture a lead, if there is, I'm leaning in because I can't physically do this in person, so this is my attempt to get serious on the Zoom call. If there is one thing I really want you guys to make sure you understand and like write down, it is this slide right here, which is how we create an offer, okay? Offers are important because that's going to be what's going to get your customer to give you their information. If we're expecting their first name, last name, email address, maybe phone number, in return, we want to be giving them something, which is our offer. Now, whatever form of advertising you're going to use, and we'll talk about some of the different forms momentarily, whatever offer you use, there's a variety of things that we want to ensure are a part of it. The first and most important is there needs to be a call to action on your offer, all right? And I know this is like marketing 101, but I failed miserably at this when we launched our business. And that was, we had this big grand opening. And I remember it was my first time playing around with Facebook marketing. And it was like, hey everyone, at Movement Strength, we're having this awesome grand opening this day. But there was zero call to action. There wasn't a sign up now or schedule your orientation or anything like that. So I was just living on hopes and dreams, all right? That's not something you wanna live on. You wanna have concrete evidence, okay? So make sure you have a call to action on your offer. Schedule now, claim today, hand over your email address, whatever it is, some sort of call to action. Then when we look at what is a part of the offer, there's 3 main bits that are super important: scarcity, urgency, and then the ability to stack value, okay? So scarcity would almost be in the sense that there's only 5 of such discounts that I'm offering, or I only have 10 of these widgets available, or something, showing that there's scarcity in the product. There's not an abundant amount. Urgency is creating a sense of urgency for that customer to actually take action on your offer and ensure that they're claiming that offer today. So it might be this sale is only on for 2 days, or the sale is only lasting 5 hours, something to ensure that we're creating urgency within that customer to take advantage and click on that offer, or give us their pen and paper with their email address, whatever it may be. And then last but not least is stacking value, right? So if they sign up today, you're gonna give them X, Y, and Z, okay? And it doesn't need to come across as like this paid for TV type advertising. We don't want it to be that way, but just thinking of different ways that we can offer value. Come in between 10 and 12 and we're gonna be giving away free coffee. Or if you spend $100, you're gonna get a free tote bag, something like that. So to see this in actual action, if we think of Boxing Day sales or Boxing Week sales, right? Let's look at Best Buy, as they do this really well. If you go to your Best Buy flyer, which I don't think anyone does, so let's just say you go to the Best Buy website, usually the very first thing you're gonna see on that website is Boxing Day sale, and they'll have like their highlighted product at the top. So Boxing Day sale, 72-inch LED TV. And then right under it, you'll see it says like Door Crasher, only 100 available, right? So there's their scarcity, 100 of these TVs available. Then urgency, this is only a 1-day sale, or it's a Door Crasher. This is only gonna be available from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then they stack the value. The first 100 customers that get in will also get a free HDMI cable, right? So they've taken advantage of the scarcity, the urgency, and the ability to stack value. These are things that all businesses, all successful businesses are doing. Apple Computer right now is offering a back to school discount. This is something that they do when they're trying to not get rid, but when they're trying to sell off some of their older computers, they have these back to school sales. There's the scarcity where there's not that many left. There's the urgency where if you claim it within a certain period, you get free Bose headphones. And then there's stacking value with additional products in there as well. So a lot of these things that we're talking about today are what some of these larger companies are using. And you don't need to be large to do them. It's almost a small business can take advantage of these a lot easier, okay? So once again, your offer should have a call to action. So get the customer to do something. There should be scarcity, urgency, and you should be stacking value. So next, where to advertise. And so much of this is going to depend on your product or service. You guys obviously know your target market and your demographic a lot better than I would. So you can kind of pick and choose which ones you would want to focus on. The main ones we're going to talk about is Facebook and Instagram. So we won't go in depth on those right now, as we'll do that momentarily. But social media marketing is obviously huge right now. If you know how to use the TikToks, go crazy. I don't really understand that world yet, but if you are trying to reach a younger demographic, there is a lot of validity in playing around with TikTok. They are just starting to add some advertisement, a part of their platform as well. So that might be something that you can go and do some research on. But of course, we have more traditional forms: radio, TV, direct mail, posters, billboards, podcasting, etc. And it's okay to use a variety of different forms of advertising. If you're trying to reach a broad audience, you want to try to open up that audience as much as possible. So, if we're hosting an event, although we primarily market through social media, maybe something like posters and billboards would be something that we do to try to grab more people to come towards our event. Or podcasting. Podcasting could be a great way to try to boost your reputation locally, right? Now with Facebook and Instagram, the reason that we're gonna talk about these two a little bit more in depth are I personally feel that they're extremely easy to utilize. And since Facebook owns Instagram, you really only have to use one platform to utilize two different types of social media outlets. So with social media marketing, the reason it's so effective is one, it is easy. If you don't know what it is, just go to YouTube, type in how to create a Facebook ad, and a bajillion different videos will pop up, okay? Educate yourself for like an hour or 2 hours, watch these how-to videos. They explain everything you need to know, all right? I've worked with some pretty high-level mentors, and to be honest, a lot of what they teach me is things that I've seen on YouTube before. So do yourselves a favor and just watch a few hours worth of that content. I promise it will pay you back in dividends. Amazing analytics, all right? So easily calculate your return on investment. This is what is so important for small business owners is we're all, we have these dollars that are so valuable and we have such few of them when we first open up that we're scared to spend money on marketing because we don't know if we put $5 into the marketing machine, if it's going to give us $5 back. And when you use print advertising, TV, radio, sometimes you wouldn't really know where, if those dollars were coming back, unless let's say you had them fill out a survey when they came in saying, how did you hear about us, right? Whereas if you're using social media, there's very powerful algorithms and analytics that you'll have access to that will tell you, it cost you $5 for 10 leads. Of those 10 leads, 5 people showed. Of the 5 people that showed, you sold one a $20 product. So you technically made 15 bucks on that sale, okay? So powerful analytics is super, super important, and it's really easy to understand all that stuff. It's explained in depth on the YouTube world as well. With all this stuff, guys, if there is any additional questions that you have, or if you want me to go more in depth on something, please feel free to reach out to me personally. I'll give you all of my info afterwards so you can do so. Targeting. So the ability to speak directly to your target market. This could be really good, but can also be sometimes bad for us. Now, in targeting, if you have a specific age demographic, if you want to speak to females between the ages of 15, we'll say from 18 to 20, you can go ahead and do so on Facebook easily. If you want to speak to females between the ages of 18 and 20 who love horses and like Pokemon, you could do that. That is how powerful Facebook marketing is, okay? Now, retargeting is another aspect of Facebook marketing that's pretty cool, which is if Ron clicked on my ad but never gave me his information, that information or Ron's profile is still stored within Facebook's algorithm. So if I want to retarget this pool of people that clicked on my ad but didn't go anywhere from there, I can send them a separate advertisement that is more tailored towards a retargeting campaign. So sometimes you may see this on websites where it's like, hey, it looks like you forgot to finish your order, right? You might get an email like a day later. And then another day you might be like, if you go and claim that order, we'll give you 10% off, right? So you can do those sorts of things within your Facebook marketing platform. So, if someone clicked on your ad, they didn't follow through, maybe you send them a retargeted ad afterwards saying, hey, we saw you clicked our video. That means maybe you would be more interested in a program like blank, okay? Fast. So this is actually one of my favorite ones, and this is the ability to stay current. Working in the boutique ad agency before I've owned my business, I've worked with a lot of slower type of media. So things like TV or radio, where if we wanted to get a specific ad out on TV, we would need to first come up with the idea, hire the actors, get them to shoot, edit the video, send it to the creative department, send it to the TV station, and then wait for them to put it on, right? That whole process could take weeks, it could even take months at times, okay? So in terms of staying current, it doesn't really allow us to do that. Whereas with social media marketing, if you have an idea, or if there's something that happens in the world that you want to take advantage of, you can create an ad that same day to help you out. A real world example of this would be what we've all seen with COVID-19, right? When COVID-19 hit, our business was very much focused on getting people in our doors to do in-person meetings to convert them to be in-gym members. As soon as COVID-19 hit, within the day of our gym closing, we completely transformed our advertising speak to be more focused on remote coaching, to set up phone calls rather than in-person meetings, to show creative of people working out at home. That all happened within hours of closing down. That would have never been possible without the powerful world of social media, okay? And then last but not least, it's fairly inexpensive, okay? Now it can be expensive. You can spend thousands of dollars on an ad, but back in the days, if you wanted a TV spot and you spend $1,000, now you can do like $5 or $10 a day if you really wanted to, okay? So SMM, best practices, social media marketing. The whole word didn't fit on the screen nicely, so we're just gonna short form it. So social media marketing best practices. Keep in mind, this is mainly for Facebook or Instagram. However, there are some consumer behavior bits that we talk about that can work on any platform. Now, if you've never seen Facebook Ad Manager, it really gets broken up into three main ways. We have ad campaigns, and then we have ad types, and then of course we have ads, okay? Now, depending what type of advertising you're doing or what type of campaign, you can break them up throughout those areas like you wish. What we personally recommend is if you are going to be advertising on Instagram and advertising on Facebook, you create separate ad campaigns for both of those platforms. The reason for it, if you're communicating to someone on Facebook, that ad should look different than if you're communicating with someone on Instagram. People use the platform differently. There's different demographics on each of those platforms. So you want to ensure that you're creating separate ads for Facebook and separate ads for Instagram. In terms of how to get in front of the most eyeballs and things like that, I will be sharing some tips and tricks, but just know that nobody knows or understands the Facebook algorithm. If you ever see an ad promising like, yeah, we know how Facebook works with ads, they're lying to your face. So I'm just sharing our knowledge, and we've spent tens of thousands of dollars on Facebook ads. So just sharing the knowledge that we've sort of gained from what we've learned. So with the ad types, there's a ton of different types of advertisements that you can create on Facebook. There's lead ads, there's conversions, there's like pushing to your page, getting more likes, all these different ones. If you're trying to focus on getting people to give you their information in terms of getting a phone number and a first and last name, we would personally recommend using a conversion type of ad or a lead type of ad, okay? If you are new to the world of Facebook, I would personally recommend using what we call a lead ad, as it's very, very easy to create and it's super effective. What a lead ad will do is it will just look like a standard ad on Facebook. You would have some sort of offer on it, right? And Facebook really walks you through the steps, step by step, because it is their product. You would put in whatever your attractive headline is, so thinking like your offer. You would write your copy explaining what your offer is. You would put some sort of picture in there, and that would be your ad. When someone clicks on it, because it was Facebook's lead ad, it would get that customer's information. It actually auto-populates the customer's information, so their phone number, email address, first and last name is automatically there. All the client needs to do is just click submit or get offer or whatever it is, and it automatically gets sent out, meaning that you now have that person's first name, last name, email address, maybe phone number, okay? So it's very, very easy from the customer standpoint. Now this could be good. We want it to be an easy process for the customer. However, if we look at leads as a whole, there's a spectrum. There's unqualified and qualified leads. So a follower on Instagram, if someone follows your page, they're maybe like a very unqualified lead. Whereas if they're clicking on your ad, whatever, they're a bit more qualified, okay? Now, if we're making the process super simple for someone, the quality of that lead may not be as high because it was super easy for them to sign up. They didn't really need to think about it, right? So the quality of Facebook lead ads might not be that high. However, you'll most likely get more people clicking on your ad and actually giving you their information. So quality is lower, but quantity is a lot higher, okay? When we compare that to a different type of ad, which is a conversion ad, what this will do is the ad will look very similar on Facebook, but when someone clicks on it, it'll actually bring them to a separate website. It'd bring them to what we call a landing page, right? On that landing page, they would click on, you know, submit your information or whatever, but they would physically need to put in their information, okay? Now, I know that seems simple talking about it, but that's a lot more work than someone just clicking get offer and then seeing their name auto-populate and clicking, yeah, let's do this, right? There's more steps. So this tends to lead to a more qualified lead. So with conversion leads or conversion ads, your quality may be higher, but the quantity may be lower, okay? And at the end of the day, it's like the age-old question, do you want quality? Do you want quantity? It really depends where you're at in your journey. I think for everyone starting out, quantity is cool because it's going to give you a little bit more times at bat. It's going to allow you to try that sales pitch out that you've been working on, okay? With conversion ads, the reason I'd usually recommend this later on in your journey as a business owner is it is a little bit more complex, but with that complexity, it also allows you to personalize the experience a little bit more with things called a Facebook pixel that you would input on your page, on your landing page. So when someone clicks on your ad and they go to your landing page, they would have to put in their information. When they put in their information, they then get brought to another website. When they get brought to the other website, that communicates to Facebook that they've taken action on that landing page, meaning that you have received a lead, okay? So it is a little bit more in depth, but it definitely does allow you to retarget later on, where you have their leads downloaded maybe outside of Facebook, which could be beneficial. We don't always want to rely on Mr. Zuckerberg. So yes, different types of leads, different quality of leads. Don't go crazy with targeting. So this is sometimes what is very attractive for people on Facebook marketing is they're like, oh my gosh, I can talk to John in California, like specifically to his location. The reason you don't want to go super, super in depth with your targeting is the whole idea is you want to reach people that maybe never heard about your product. And if you target way too close or way too narrow, the reach of how many people that ad can go to is going to be limited. So if your ideal client is a 35-year-old male in Nebraska, maybe you open that up and you want to go from 30 to 40 in the state of whatever. Okay, so don't be afraid to open up your target a little bit. We don't want to open it wide up. We don't want to open it up wide because then you might get a ton of leads, but the quality is really not going to be that great. Okay, so you want to be targeted, but you don't want to be super targeted. Now with advertising, if you guys have already done a little bit of research on your own, it's all about pattern interrupt. In this crazy world that we live in with social media, we need to be thinking of the behaviors of our ideal clients and what it looks like. So if you're scrolling through Facebook and you notice something, right? All the pictures, they're all very colorful, they're crisp, they're clean. Well, what if your ad was a black and white picture? So now someone's scrolling and all of a sudden they see a black and white photo. They're like, oh, I'm going to put my finger on the screen to stop it from scrolling. That picture looks different. And then that might just be enough of a pattern interrupt to get them to stop on your ad, read your headline, read your copy explaining your offer, and then submit to you whatever information they want. Okay, so you need to be thinking, this is the fun thing as a business owner. What type of pattern interrupts can I create on my social platforms to give people a few seconds of stopping to read what I have to say? All right, and this is where you get to be creative and have fun with it. When we think of our ads, we have the creative, which is the picture. You have your headline, right, which is explaining your offer. And then you have your copy, which is explaining what your actual offer is, all right? On these ads, we have different buttons. So if you guys were to go to Facebook right now, you'll see ads. Some of them will say schedule, apply, get offer, learn more. This is also going to give you a different type of qualified lead. Now, what I mean by that is we as millennials, a lot of us are, we don't love commitment. So when you see an ad and it says like, buy now or schedule today, you're like, whoa, Isaac, we just met, man. I'm not ready to take that step with you. And I get it. So if you use verbiage like learn more, that's not as aggressive. That's like, yeah, okay, I am interested in learning more about this product. I'm not necessarily signing up today, but I'm going to learn more. So if we think of the qualified versus unqualified or quality versus quantity, if you use a learn more button, that might get you more quantity, but maybe the quality is lower. Whereas if you have an apply now button or buy now, maybe the quality is higher, but the quantity will be lower. So playing around with all these different things is really going to make a difference of what your lead flow is going to look like. And it's not always about getting as many leads as you can. Then last but not least is a landing page. Okay, so your landing page is going to be the website that a customer would be brought to when they click on your ad. And this page is important as it's going to allow you to go more in depth onto your product or your service that you're selling. So you could use your whatever website that you're using, if it's Squarespace or Wix or whatever it may be. There's also specific funnel software that you can purchase. And one of the big ones is called ClickFunnels. Chances are, if you've ever clicked on an ad on Facebook, you've probably been through some sort of funnel. And the whole idea here is, if we think of a funnel, it goes from wide to narrow. At the very top, at its widest point, you are getting the most unqualified lead. And as they go through your funnel, they're getting more and more qualified. So when they first go to your page, maybe the first thing that it's going to ask them to do is put in their first name, last name, email address, phone number. They click submit. From there, the next page is maybe getting them to actually schedule a call with you or schedule a time to go to your business, okay? And then from there, the page after that is maybe to send you some sort of chat via Facebook Messenger or Instagram Messenger. And then like every single time they go through a step in your funnel, it's just making them a more qualified customer. So if you actually sell a physical product, but you don't want to, necessarily lead with someone buying a product immediately, maybe it starts with get 25% off, and then it goes to schedule a time to come into the business. Then it's send us a chat on Facebook. And then maybe, since they're so qualified, you can say, hey, for this time only, if you're cool with it, you can buy this product for 50% off. And there's an actual buy now button. So you can really play around with funnels in terms of getting a nice qualified customer. And this also allows you to input different technologies like pixels into these types of websites. So I don't want to go too in depth with that stuff because it tends to be a little bit boring, but we will cover that at another day. So lead nurture. It's great that we have the lead, right? So Bobby clicked on my ad. He gave me his information. I have this hot lead, which is great. But now what do I do with it? How do I ensure Bobby actually comes into the store or comes into the facility or books a time to meet with me? And that's where lead nurture comes into play, okay? With lead nurture, a timely response is the most valued attribute in customer service, okay? Usually, if someone is shopping around or if someone clicks on your ad or puts a learn more on your website, they're probably doing that for other websites as well. So at that time, it's all right, who can get back to this customer the quickest? And this is really the internet that has created this behavior, right? The internet has changed the buyer's behavior, that we very much live in a now society. So 78% of customers will buy from the first responder. So the first, if they reach out to my business first and they reach out to your second, but you get in touch with them before I do, there's a 78% likelihood that they're gonna buy from you before they buy from me. Here's some other stats as well. The likelihood of you making a sale increases substantially if you reach out to that person within the first minute. Okay, these aren't stats that I'm making up. This is from another website. I can show you guys afterwards if you'd like. 80% decrease in likelihood of making a sale if you reach out to them after 5 minutes. And then businesses in general, 55% take 5+ days to respond. 55% will not respond to their customers within 5 days. Yeah, scary stuff. None of you guys though. Speed is king. That's what it's all about. We want to be as fast to get back to this customer as possible. All right. And we can use a variety of different software to allow us to stay in touch with our leads and get in touch with them immediately. When we say speed is king, it is important, but of course we don't want to get back to a customer if we have no idea what we're saying. We want to ensure that we're actually talking to them about something valuable. So here's just some recommended software that we utilize in our business or that we've utilized in the past that has been very, very great in building our brand. Google Sheets being the first one. The whole Google suite is fantastic. It's free for you guys to use. And what's cool is as you grow, you can easily add employees into your whole Google suite, right? This is how you can get the fancy email of, you know, maybe it's isaac@movementstrength.com as opposed to isaac@gmail.com. It's also just, it's a super powerful tool that speaks well with a lot of different softwares as well. So Squarespace, for example, can save leads directly to Google Sheets. MailChimp. So email, I know a lot of us may think that email is dead. However, it is still a form of communication and we would be silly to at least not utilize it. MailChimp is a piece of software that if someone does ClickFunnels website and you put in your information, as soon as you input your information and click submit, that will trigger a zap that I've created that will take your information, automatically place it into my Google Sheet. That will then trigger a text message to be sent to you with the following information, which then sends you a schedule link. If you schedule, it then sends it back to my Google Sheet, letting me know that that client or that lead has scheduled a call. So all that is done through this really cool piece of technology called Zapier. And then website builder, so Squarespace, Shopify, Wix, all these different things. I personally use Squarespace. It's easy, looks clean. I'll be honest, if I sold physical product on my website, I would probably lean towards a Shopify just because they're Canadian and I like to support Canadian, but that is completely up to you. Texting platform. Please look into some sort of texting platform. Don't use your own phone to text clients. It might seem like a really good idea at first, but the whole goal is you want to grow your business. And if you have 1,000 clients and they're all sending you a text message, you could say bye-bye to work-life balance. Okay, so try to get another texting platform. There's things like Twilio that you can look into, or Scipio. Scipio gives you a free phone number and allows you to text with up to 100 clients. So look into these things, they will benefit you. And you can set triggers as well. When someone goes to your website and gives you their information, they're immediately sent some sort of text message. And then funnel applications, if you want to create these different types of sales funnels that will lead potential customers through a journey, you can look into something called ClickFunnels. It's not cheap, it's about 99 bucks a month, but it is very easy to use and it speaks well with a ton of other software out there. So far, the journey of a lead, okay? You've went to Facebook or Instagram, you were looking around, there was a pattern interrupt, you saw this black and white photo which looked different than anything else. So you read the offer, it seemed attractive, it had scarcity, urgency, we were stacking value, you clicked on it, that then brought you to a landing page where you needed to input your first and last name and email address. You did that, you clicked submit, that then sent the info to a database that I have. I then sent you a scheduling link to get you to come and talk to me, which you decided to do. So now this is where the real work comes into play, which is I have this person in front of me and the whole sales dance begins. So sales is definitely something I would love to talk to you guys at length about, but I don't want to bore you with the details for now. But there are a few really important pieces I want us to cover. First and foremost, you sell the problem you solve, not the product, okay? And if there's one thing I really want you guys to wrap your heads around with sales, sales are not dirty. It's funny how as a business owner or as a client, when you hear salesperson or salesman or saleswoman, it leaves this like dirty taste in your mouth that you're like, oh man, they're gonna be high pressure. I'm not about sales. But then as a business owner, when you hear the word sales, you're like, oh, sales are great. That's why my business stays afloat, because I make sales. So where's the disconnect here, right? If you truly believe in your product or your service, and you truly believe your product or service can change that individual's life, then you will have no problem selling them a service that you know will be effective, okay? This doesn't necessarily make us pushy. We just know we have such conviction in our product that that client needs to buy it because it's going to better them. Every single time you get in a sales meeting or a sales opportunity, someone will be sold, all right? You're either going to sell that customer on the benefit of your product, or that customer is going to sell you on their excuse as to why they don't want to buy it, okay? And I don't want to come across as aggressive with sales. It's just, we as business owners, if there's one skill we really need to gain, it's the skill of being able to sell our product with conviction. So 90% of selling is conviction. 10% is persuasion. Notice that I say persuasion and not manipulation. That's another common misconception. As a salesman, I am not trying to manipulate that customer. That is, no. I want to ensure that I'm using that conviction, persuading them that, like, yes, this product will change your life, okay? So be confident in your product. So as an entrepreneur, this is super aggressive, but as an entrepreneur, we need to have this grow or die mentality. How can I ensure that I'm constantly growing my business, okay? When we go into this whole dance of sales, there's some things that we can work on to allow us or to ensure that we're constantly growing. The first one being rapport. Rapport wins wars, right? Approach your clients with a smile, bring the high energy, find some sort of common ground to talk to them about, right? We want to get to know that person, build that friendship. As someone who sells memberships, if I have a friendship with my clients, it's much harder for a client to quit a friendship than a membership. So you can have that type of mentality with whatever sort of product that you sell. Conviction, I've already said it twice. I'm probably going to say it another 5 times. You need to believe in your product and know that it will change the customer's life. If you don't believe that, I don't want to say the next steps, but we don't have that issue because we all believe in our products here. Trust. People will buy from you if they know, like, or trust you, okay? This is one of the most difficult things for individuals to come across as when they are making that initial sale is how can they build trust with that client across from them? And a lot of that will go back to that first point, which is, do I have the proper rapport built with that customer? Does this customer trust in Isaac that Isaac truly does want what's best for Jane? Finding the problem. So as I mentioned on the very first slide, we sell solutions to problems. We don't sell products. So if you identify the the whole goal in the sale is to find the problem. All right. We want to identify the customer's problem from asking open-ended questions. Right. Now, to give you like a peek behind the curtain at like sales training at Apple, the biggest things that we focused on was asking open-ended questions. So next time you go to the Apple store, you can see the majority of questions they're asking you are open-ended. They're meant to try to find the problem. Once they found the problem and they're providing you with a solution, that is when they're asking those closed-ended questions. And just to elaborate, open-ended questions mean you're giving me a longer answer. So it might be something like, why are you interested in this product? Or what are you looking for today? Whereas a closed-ended question is usually a short yes or no response. So when I find the problem, I solidify that problem by asking closed-ended questions. So you're looking for a computer with not that much storage. Yes. Okay, cool. And you spill a lot of things on your phone, so you're going to want to get the coverage. Yes. So it's like using those closed-ended questions to solidify what you've discovered during your problem finding. When you find the individual's problem, why they need your product as a solution, you need to ensure that you're assigning them with that problem and that they understand that they have an issue, because the problem is in the pitch, or the pain is in the pitch a lot of the times, right? So if as a customer, I now admit, yes, I have a problem, I need to lose weight, or I really want to gain muscle. Now the person has admitted that, I know that we can move forward on trying to find a solution. But if you don't easily find the problem, it's going to be very difficult for you to then pitch your product as a solution. So always try to find the problem so we can pitch a solution. And then, of course, the most important thing is focus on helping them. If you truly believe your product will solve their problem, then your conviction will prevail. And I put in quotation notes here, childlike curiosity. Okay. Now this is super important, and we're going to talk about tonality in a second. But if you approach your sales in a sense of childlike curiosity, you're not going to come across as pushy or salesperson-y. Okay. What I mean by that is there's a variety of ways to ask why. And when you think of kids ask why all the time, but it never comes across as aggressive, right? They're like, oh, well, like, why is the sky blue? Or like, why did you do that, right? Whereas if we are trying to do a sale and someone doesn't want to buy what we're selling, if we approach it with childlike curiosity and just simply ask them like, okay, well, like, if you don't want me asking, like, why are you not interested in this product? If we use that type of tonality, it's not going to come across as aggressive. Whereas if you're like, well, why are you going to buy that? Like, well, because I don't like you, right? We want to ensure we're being nice and friendly with our customers. So very nearing the end, guys, just two more slides. Tonality, asking for the sale, and obstacle overcomes. This is another kind of peek behind the curtain at Apple training. Tonality is how we say words and when we're saying words. And this always comes from practice, right? If you want to get good at sales, you need to have some sort of pitch. You have an idea of what you're going to talk about with your behaviors, right? With the benefits of your product. So using different words differently when we're talking about things. Going high with your voice, going low with your voice. Being able to control the conversation with the different tonalities throughout the sale. The biggest one, and at Apple, we spent a whole day talking about this. And this is asking for the sale. And now that we're talking about this, you're going to see it everywhere that you go. And very few businesses will actually ask for the sale. Servers do this really well, right? When you're eating lunch or dinner and they're like, So are we going to be splitting the bills today? Is it on one bill? That's them being like, yo, are you guys going to pay for this? Because I need to get you out of here because we have another table that's behind you. That's them asking for the sale. And we need to do the same thing. As customers, a lot of the times, we have the money in our pocket. We're ready to buy. We're just waiting for the person to ask us. And it doesn't need to be aggressive, like, are you paying with credit card or debit today? But it could be very subtle. Like, how are you going to be paying for this today? Right? Like, we need to be asking for the sale. If you don't ask for it, how do you know you're ever going to get it? The other reason is if you ask for the sale and they say no, or I'm not ready, that leads into the final portion of the sale, which is overcoming obstacles. When someone says, no, I don't want to buy your product, there's a few things that could have happened. One, they don't trust you, they don't like you, or maybe you didn't do a good enough job explaining how your product could really benefit that individual. So this will give you time to overcome some of those obstacles that they may have. So if you sell an expensive product, what you might face, one of the most common objections is, I can't afford that, it's too much money, or I need to talk to my significant other, right? My spouse. It's another really common one. So as a business owner, having things at the ready, like, you need to be able to answer that question confidently and quickly, okay? And once again, it doesn't need to be pushy. It's that whole childlike curiosity. So if we get asked the question, it's a lot of money, I need to talk to my spouse, the first thing I'll say is, yeah, for sure. What do you think your spouse is going to say about your fitness journey? Do you think they're going to tell you that they don't want you to do this? 9 times out of 10, that individual is going to be like, no, they're super supportive. Like, okay, that's awesome. Let's do this. You ready? Right? It's not aggressive. It's we know we have their best interests in mind. Okay, so coming up with all of these different obstacles, and that's what leads to the last piece, which is practice, practice, practice. Sales is a skill. In my opinion, it's one of the most valuable skills that any entrepreneur can have. Selling their product, selling themselves. You need to be confident, and you need to be able to accurately and easily communicate what you're trying to get across. So practice every day, right? We work on our product every day. Why are we not working on sales every day? Come up with an ideal client. Come up with what you want that sale to look like. Come up with a bunch of different obstacles that you can overcome. What do you say to the spouse objection? What do you say if it's too much money? What do you say if they don't have time? What do you say if they don't have their credit card on them? Like, you need to be able to say these things really quickly. In the dance of sales, think of like a sale. If you think of a cup and your cup is full of sand, right? Every time there's a little bit of trust lost from your client, some sand pours out. So when you drop like an or a like, or you don't know what to say, sand is falling out of your cup. When they have an obstacle and you can't really overcome it that easily, more sand falls out of your cup. At the end of the sale, if your cup is full of sand and you've nailed everything, chances are there's going to be no objections. The customer's just going to buy. Whereas if your cup is like half full, you might have a lot of objections that you need to overcome. And then if your cup is like empty, a lot of times, maybe you're stuttering over your words all day, you couldn't accurately speak about your product. If your cup is empty, sometimes it doesn't matter what you do at the end of that sale, that customer is never going to buy. So please do yourselves a favor, practice sales. It is so, so important. And just do it on your own. You don't need to have a physical customer in front of you. Look at yourself in the mirror and just go over your sales pitch. So that is it. That is all. I've been talking for about an hour straight. I'm so, so sorry that you had to listen to my voice for that long. As always, I am going to stay on here afterwards to answer any questions that you may have, but you're more than welcome to reach out to me directly. My email is simply isaacmorgado@me.com. You can follow me on Instagram. It's just at imorgado. There's nothing special on there. I don't really post on that often. But if you feel like getting jacked or losing some weight and joining a sweet gym, you can come to Movement Strength. Shameless plug for us. But that's it. That's all, guys. Thank you guys for being so awesome today. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Isaac. I'm just going to switch the screen so we can see everybody. There we go. Can you see everyone?
I can see all of your beautiful faces.
Okay, there we go. Awesome. That was awesome, man. Great presentation. We're getting some feedback over the chat. I think you said that you're sorry for talking for so long, but I think there's a lot of people here that wanted you to keep going.
Oh, stop it.
See Christine saying she would love to see the other two core functions that you talked about, or cover the other three. Sorry. So you definitely there's clear value you're providing, and I think the group really enjoyed it. I know I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I took a lot of notes, and I had definitely some questions here. But I want to open the floor up to you guys first before I use my questions. So go for it, guys. Omar.
Hey, Isaac. Pleasure to meet you. I think what you went over was very informative, and I really enjoyed it. I had a quick question.
Omar, and everybody else, before you ask your question, if you could say what your business is, that'd be great.
Yeah. So Isaac, Aaron and I, my partner here who's in this call as well, we run a company called Nitro Route. Sorry, it's an application that helps drivers save up to 30% of their day scanning their packages and building their own personalized and optimized route right within the application.
It's awesome.
Thanks. So my question was, when you were starting your first business and you were hitting, some of the hard points, where did you find the internal strength to kind of move past those barriers?
Whew, man, look at you. Tense. Good question. I will be completely honest. A lot of that foundation was found when I was working at Apple. Apple was very much about creating this culture of inclusion, very big on like self-help, reading books, things like that. So it's always been an interest that I've had. And this isn't going to be a shameless plug or like that it's related to my industry, but I've always sort of done health or fitness as a way to clear my mind, as that's kind of like my me time, right? So read like a ton of books, go for like a walk or a run, do something for you, because you can't always be consumed by your business. So thinking of the best way to do this whole like work-life integration. As an entrepreneur, we're not going to have the benefit of working 5-hour days, right? We are going to have to work a lot more. So it's how can we integrate our work and our life together, and making sure that you're still taking time for Omar and not just being fully consumed by your amazing business idea. Great question.
Awesome. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
Great question, guys. Who's up next? Jesse.
Jesse.
Isaac, my name is Jesse. I own the Hot Sauce Co. We're a local producer of all natural hot sauces.
Love it.
I just want to say, I really enjoyed everything you talked about. The tonality, asking for the sale, and the obstacle overcomes, I found was kind of the most useful part. I sell a product face-to-face to people at farmers markets. So there's a ton of times I get people who are like, I just don't like hot sauce. And it's very, very common, and it's one of the biggest ones I always try and overcome, because usually at least one person in the family likes hot sauce. So I guess that's not really a question. I just wanted to say, I really liked how you put those 2 points together. Working on tonality is a big thing I need to do, because sometimes maybe I'm a bit forward, or I don't have that kind of smooth radio man voice that I need to have.
I have something for you though, because that's
Sure.
That's a common obstacle, right? And the thing is, as much as we would love our product to be for everybody, it's not. So there's something called the 3 A's, which is acknowledge, align, and assure, right? So if a client comes to you, or if you're talking to someone, they're like, oh, I don't like hot sauces. Chances are, Jesse, you probably know someone in your life that doesn't like hot sauces. Maybe it's your mom, right? So it's like, hey, I totally understand. My mom hates hot sauces, but I can assure you that these sauces are legit. Like if you have anyone in your family that enjoys hot sauces, you should totally get them to try this out, right? So you're acknowledging their problem. You're aligning with them that like, yeah, I have someone in my family that has that problem. And then you're assuring them that like, hey, these are really good. You should still get them for somebody else.
That's great. No, that's awesome. That's a great tip. Thank you very much.
No
And
worries.
thanks for everything else.
Yeah, man. And we have retail at our new space, so maybe I'll reach out to get some hot sauces at our location. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, we should definitely chat about that.
Love it.
Awesome. Thank you, Jesse. Who's next? Any other questions? Aaron, go for it.
I was wondering, you were a business manager for Apple, right? What made you decide to pivot and start your own company? What was like the turning point? Or
Yeah, right. It's like, oh, you work for the most valuable company. It was so much fun. Why would you just go into the crazy world of entrepreneurship? It's a really good question. I loved my time at Apple. I got to travel around the world, talk to passionate individuals about their businesses and things like that. But I always wanted to do something for myself and to create a product from nothing or a service from nothing. And, it still blows my mind when I see an individual post about their experience that they've had at like my baby that I created. And there's just nothing that compares to that, right? Like the first time someone's going to download your app, or the first dollar that you're going to earn from something you created, you can't really put it into words. And it's something that people can never take away from you as well. So yeah, it's the drive of an entrepreneur, right? The crazy ones that want to do crazy things. Good question.
Thank you, Aaron. We had a question here from Max that he typed in. Max is asking, what platform, in your opinion, I think social media platform is what Max is referring to, is the most underutilized for distributing content?
Ooh, great question. So funny thing, I think TikTok is a really big one right now. And it's funny, we created a TikTok 7 months ago. I did one of them. I hated myself for it and I couldn't do it again. But that is silly of me. Like as a business owner, if I'm trying to get content out, I want to be on the hottest platform. TikTok is something where the organic reach, meaning the amount of eyeballs that see it that you don't need to pay for, is ridiculous. Now, there's misconceptions about it where my product isn't for individuals between the ages of 18 and 25, where it might not be, but maybe the parents of those people are, or TikTok is getting older, right? So I think TikTok is a really big one if you could figure out how to use it in a way that best serves your business and that will be a pattern interrupt for people. Super important. Another one, depending on your product or service, is LinkedIn. I know this seems like a dinosaur of a social media platform. However, once again, the organic reach of LinkedIn is really, really impressive because there's not a ton of businesses advertising or producing content for it. So if you can have something that's somewhat unique to your product on LinkedIn, you can also potentially get a ton of organic reach from that. Good question.
Thank you.
Did you have a follow-up at all, Max, or you get?
No, that was amazing. Yeah.
Max, what's your business?
So I run a vintage clothing company, and I basically source vintage from all over Canada and then post it online for people to buy.
TikTok like crazy.
Yeah,
sure.
That's like my entire like demographic right there. So that's sweet.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's great. Love it.
Awesome. Thank you, Max. Kristen, you're up next.
Hey, Isaac, great job. I really found it helpful, the Facebook marketing you were talking about. I have a question when it comes to the targeting. You said to keep it very broad. I always get lost in like the hobbies and all the little things when it comes to the targeting, and they always give you like 100 suggestions. How many do you suggest for like each topic that you would use?
Because I know your industry, because I'm in your industry, I don't use any.
None?
None. I break
Okay.
up by, so I will separate by gender.
Okay.
So I will, to be honest, I mainly target my ads towards females. So our ad range is females between the ages of 27 and 45. It's a broad enough range, and I'll just stick within there. That's it. Females in London, I'll pick my location. I'll give it about a 7 to 10 mile radius, and then that's what I go off of. I don't go into the nitty gritty of hobbies and interests and things like that. It narrows it down too much, but it depends how many dollars you're putting towards it as well. Like there's times where we're spending $200 a day. So if I'm spending $200 a day, I can't be as targeted. I can't have like a 30 to 35 with specific interests, because that person's just going to be hammered by my ad all day. Whereas if I broaden it, it is at least going to get in front of maybe Jesse's eyeballs 4 times, Kristen eyeballs 2 times, but not just like Kristen's eyeballs 20 times.
Okay, sweet, thank you.
That's interesting. I think I never really thought about that context of when you do too narrow, that it will, like, you're getting that constant retargeting over and over again to the same person.
Yeah.
That's really great, Isaac. Thank you.
Yeah. A big one for you guys to look into. I didn't touch upon it, but maybe I didn't because it's the secret that I'm going to use. And I want to share it with you guys, but I don't want to live in this scarcity mindset. So something that's really powerful right now is if we think of these Instagram influencers or TikTok influencers or Facebook influencers, you almost want to look for local influencers. So this one's especially for someone like Jesse, mainly because I just know what your product is. So if Jesse is trying to sell hot sauces and he's from London, if I was Jesse, I would look for London influencers. So what are some Instagram people in London that have 5,000 followers, right? It doesn't need to be massive. If someone has 200,000 followers and they post something like, you should buy this hot sauce, what is the first thing we all think? They're being paid to do this, right? Whereas if someone has 2,000 followers and they post, yo, you need to buy Jesse's hot sauce, you're like, I trust this person, right? So it's not like the power is in the numbers in terms of the amount of followers. Sometimes it's actually in our best interest to try to get an individual between like 25 and 5,000 followers that has trust with every single one of their followers, as opposed to the 50,000, right? Don't tell your friends about that one though.
I wrote it down.
No, okay, that's fine. Writing it down is good. Don't put it on Google. Who knows who has access to that?
Awesome, yeah. Thank you, Isaac. Anybody else before I jump to my couple of questions? Omar, Jared, I can't see you guys, so Tyler, anything? They're good? Okay.
I'm personally okay.
Okay. So my question, Isaac, for you is a bit more around like sales and marketing planning. So a lot of people here, they haven't ever actually built like a sales plan or a marketing plan for their business yet that includes paid advertising. And I was wondering if you could offer any advice for the individuals that are thinking about that. They're going to do, their first paid ad campaign that's more than just boosting a post. Around how do you plan it like time-wise? Like for your business, when you guys first started out, were you just planning day by day, week by week, or were you thinking, I'm going to start with the whole year, 365 days, or maybe by quarter, monthly? Just love to get some advice around how do I begin to think about my planning for the next year?
That's a great question. So personally, especially if we're all just starting out or in the infancy of our business, I would recommend looking at a quarter out. If you're a very organized individual and you want to do 6 months to a full year, you're more than welcome. But I would usually break out my marketing strategies by like paid or organic, and then I would break it out by different platforms as well. So if I'm looking the month of January, for example, the first week, it's going to be 4 organic posts. And then maybe the second week is when I'm actually going to do a week worth of paid Facebook marketing ads around this specific topic. Or if you have a product that you're releasing or a program that you're starting, you can plan it out there, right? And maybe your organic posts the week before are building the suspense, building the scarcity and the urgency around the offer that you're going to be giving them the next week. The week after that, maybe it's another organic post or something focusing on like an event that's going to be happening in your business. And then the week after that, same thing. Maybe it's some sort of competition that you're having, like, hey, share this with 5 friends and have your chance of getting such and such a product, right? And then it goes on to the next month and you do the same thing. So I would just look at your marketing strategy based off of organic and paid, and you don't need to run paid ads all the time. When we started, it was more we ran paid ads until we hit a certain number of sales, and then we would stop that paid ad for, a few weeks, and we would start it again. We're now at the point in our business where we run paid ads every day of every single year, and we just have the systems in place from the 6 core functions that allow us to, I guess, deal with the inflow of leads that we're having. But yeah, it's important that you have a plan. Don't just try to do things willy-nilly. Look at a calendar, think of what topics you're going to talk about. Don't just think of posts, think of events that you can host, think of competitions that you can run, think of products that you can sell or give away, all that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Thank you, Isaac. I'm just looking at all my questions here. I'm realizing that a lot of them you answered with your presentation, which I kind of typed them out ahead of time.
Sorry, man.
I guess this kind of one thing I was thinking when you are going into planning, do you guys use holidays as a way to help think of, okay, well, obviously the holiday's coming, so we can do something for that. I know that's a bit of low-hanging fruit. Do you do that in your business as well?
Yeah, we do, for sure. We'll theme different things. So like if we have Christmas coming up, we do a big accountability challenge, right? Where we pair up with the Abbey Fund. I think maybe Nicole has talked to you guys or will be talking to you guys, but maybe we sell a challenge at our gym that is very inexpensive. So $50, and then 50% of that will go towards the proceeds of the Abbey Fund. And it's a great way to build a network of some of Nicole's clients to help us out, some of our clients to help Nicole out. And then it's just a really cool cause and a cool story as well. So we use holidays quite a bit in our planning, but also don't use holidays as an excuse to not advertise. That's a big thing that we kind of struggled with when we first started, was like, okay, so it's the long weekend. I'm not going to post an ad because it's a long weekend. Whereas it's the long weekend. People have nothing to do and they're just scrolling through their phones. So if anything, we saw an influx of lead generation on holidays.
Awesome. Great info, man. Thank you. Man, this one was about targeting, gated content, click funnels. You touched on all of that. I guess my last one that you didn't touch on was around A/B testing. I'd love to get, from our different speakers that actually do run ads, whether it's paid through social media or other types of advertising platforms. What's your experience with testing? Because obviously there are a lot of entrepreneurs here, those beginning stages, they're not going to know when something is working, when it's not right away. And I was wondering if you subscribe to that, or if you just kind of go with your gut.
It's a really good question. I'll say this. So I do A/B testing, not so much anymore, still a little bit. When I create an ad with my gut and then I create the B test, usually the ad that I had a good feeling about is the ad that performs the best. So I think there is something to that, but I'm a massive data junkie. So I love A/B testing just to sort of solidify ideas in my mind that I already kind of thought existed. But, I was telling Kristen before, when we run ads, and I'll run one ad for female, one ad for male, for those specific genders, I will see where my dollars are best spent, or what ads attract clients between 30 and 35, and 40 to 45. So I do use A/B testing. However, as a newbie as well, the thing to think about is you might not necessarily have the capital to spend a lot on A/B testing. So if you just feel like you know your market and your client and have a good feeling about the ad, maybe you just go all in on that ad rather than trying to create a second one to see if it's any better. And just do your research ahead of time. Like, I know that green works better than blue on our ads. Did that happen from A/B testing? Yes, but if you Google it, that's all there as well. I know learn more is going to get me more leads than get offer. And you just get that a lot of just like researching on Google. So you don't have to spend your hard-earned dollars.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Any other questions from the rest of you? No? Well, with that, Isaac, tons of great info here. This was amazing. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know things are probably quite hectic with opening the new gym. So we really do appreciate you joining us. And I know everybody here really got a lot of value out of the presentation. We have this recording, guys, so I definitely recommend going back and reviewing this. And Isaac has made his information available to you, which is super generous of him. So please follow up. Isaac, we will be sending an invite to you to our kind of private. We have a private social kind of group using Mighty Networks. So if you want to connect with the entrepreneurs on there as well, you're more than welcome to. I'll send you a personal link. But yeah, thank you for joining us. And good luck with your own business as well. And yeah, we'd like to do I know, Andre, we want to do our screenshot. So if you have your camera off and you can, turn it on. We like to send our speakers off with a nice Leap Junction wave, and everybody put a hand up. Yeah, awesome. So thank you very much, Isaac. We look forward to seeing you again soon, and we will talk to you soon.
Cool. Thank you guys so much. Have the best day ever. Bye for now.
Take care.